Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the AEW Dynamite review for the 31st of March 2021. Really mixed bag of a show, but still, in my opinion, better than NXT by far. And this is with the NXT lead in to WrestleMania being, I think WrestleMania is next week or the week after or something. It's within the next 2 weeks anyway. But um, to be completely honest, I feel like AEW is falling since the pay per view. And while there are things I enjoy, there are just as many things I don't enjoy. So, a promotion that I loved a lot of 6 months ago is quickly becoming overbooked and it's harder to watch. Um, I still have a lot of hope for AEW, but they definitely need to get the number of people they hire and the approach to things under control. So Christian Cage defeats Frankie Kazarian to open the show. Not sure I would have opened the show with this in the simple basis that Christian's a relatively big name, and he does a lot of good stuff. He's good for the promotion, but opening a show with him, I don't know that the pacing is correct for this, especially with some of the things that come later. Anyway, match is fine. It's good. He defeats Frankie Kazarian. Nothing is wrong with it. There wasn't really a lot of heavy intensity to the match, which I think a first match back Christian should have had. A little bit of hunger, a little bit of snap to his stuff. Neither man gets the early advantage. Chain wrestling, back elbow Kazarian is a pretty decent strike. Christian then gets sent to the ramp. Christian strikes Kazarian with a slap, but backdrops him back into the ring. Kazarian then lands some strikes in the corner, sends him off top rope all the way to the floor. Christian tries to attack upon re-entry, but Kazarian surprises him with a leg drop before applying a cavat. Kazarian turns it into a front sleeper. Christian begins to fade. Kazarian hits a neckbreaker for near fall, follows up with a back suplex for another near fall. Again, to me, Christian coming back as a legend should not have this much trouble with a guy who goes 8 minutes with a squash guy on Dark on a regular basis. It just doesn't make sense to me anyway. Kazarian slugs off the shots. Christian comes, drops him with one of his own kind of strikes, and then Christian makes a comeback, fights out of the corner, hits a swinging DDT for near fall, drops to the floor, hits a draping right hand, hits a European uppercut. Christian attacks in the corner, 10 count of right hands, goofy. And then Kazarian nails Christian with a jackknife, turns it into a cradle, and then he goes crossface chicken wing. Christian turns that around and goes for the kill switch. Christian escapes a suplex and hits a reverse DDT, heads to the top rope. Kazarian rolls out. And then Kazarian goes for the crossface chicken wing a second time, locks it in tight. Christian has quite a fight, probably the best part of the match, was Christian trying to fight from underneath. He reaches the ropes, rolls out, and Kazarian falls victim to a series of strikes and springboard leg drop for near fall. They go to the top rope and fight out until Kazarian attacks with a headbutt. Kazarian follows up with a flux capacitor. I guess that's the old name for the Spanish fly. Christian avoids springboard leg drop and lands a frog splash. Near fall, rolls out chicken wing attempt and sends Kazarian into the corner. Hits the kill switch for his first victory in AEW. Again, this match could have been done in 8 or 9 minutes. This match should have been a stronger showing for Christian. Not a fan here. Darby Allin video played. He addresses Matt Hardy. He acknowledges the legacy of Matt Hardy, points out that he has changed and morphed. Hardy is, with me, has basically go away heat. I'm so tired of the various gimmicks of Matt Hardy with none of them really having direction. Anyway, he said Hardy would earn Allen's respect because Hardy's money doesn't mean anything to him. Jade Cargill vignette airs. She talks about Red Velvet before talking about her physical ability. And she calls herself, well, a name I can't repeat here because it's a G-rated channel. So, exhibition match: Cody Rhodes, QT Marshall, special guest referee Arn Anderson, goes to a no contest. Nightmare Factory trainees are out, including the Gun Club Lee Johnson. Cody takes Marshall down with a shoulder tackle, goes into some arm drags. Marshall reaches the ropes. Cody hits the right hand, but ran into a drop kick. Marshall targets Cody's shoulder through the commercial. Cody then turns the tables and goes for the figure four. He opted not to apply it. And same thing with the crossroads. Marshall startles Cody with a slap. Misses a crossbody on the follow-up. Marshall snaps and attacks Arn with a cheap shot right hand. Trainees run into the ring to make the save, but they all turned on the veterans and coaches. Lee Johnson takes a powerbomb on the apron before being busted open. Dustin Rhodes takes a pile driver from Marshall on the steel steps. Anthony Ogogo drops Cody with a body shot. They prop Cody up on the steel steps. Marshall goes to crack him with a chair. Red Velvet runs out as if to stop it. Students turn heel to join Marshall, including Ogogo, Nick Catalamaro, and Aaron Solo. Baby faces are Gun Club, Dustin, Cody, and Lee Johnson. There's too many factions in AEW at this point. Why should I care more about Hardy's faction than the Nightmare Family? Why should I care about the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle? Why too much of the same thing means nothing means anything? Anyway, let's see. So there's a video package of Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. They cut a ideal promo for them. They said everybody would see what they can do on Monday. Basically, they are now a team, which is cool. Red Velvet is interviewed by Dasha about the attack, but she's attacked by Jade Cargill, who tosses her into some crates and screams at her more vulgarity. I guess it's fine, but I think they're wasting Cargill. I understand slow build, but at the same time, I would have liked to have seen Cargill in another match on Dynamite by now. Moxley cuts a promo about the Good Brothers' attack on Eddie Kingston last week. He's confused and a little bit angry about everyone's motivations and everything else going on before talking about Cesar Bononi. He said someone like Bononi could be a big moneymaker, but not if Moxley kills him first. I hate the word kills. This is wrestling, not some movie, and he's not actually going to kill anybody. So, Moxley defeats Bononi with Ryan Nemeth and JD Drake. Another stable, oh joy. Bononi overpowers Moxley. Did they already wrestle on Dark or Elevation or somewhere recently? Like really recently? Anyway, Moxley takes him down and hits a dragon screw. Nemeth grabs Moxley's boot. Bononi hits a short-term comeback and a vertical suplex for a near fall. Match goes through a commercial break and it doesn't need to. Bononi maintains control. Moxley comes back with a bunch of strikes. Can't knock the man down, even though he's beat most people in other promotions and this one. Bononi gets suckered in for German suplex. His friends and cronies get involved. Moxley takes Nemeth down with a Paragon Shift before transitioning into a rear naked choke on Bononi and winning the match. Unnecessary match for a guy who was on national television for years. Anyway, Team Taz replays a message. Taz tries to explain everything with Ricky Starks. Starks interrupts, asks Brian Cage's thoughts. Cage gets upset about how it took them a long time to put their opponents away. Taz calms everyone down and says they couldn't be stopped. MJF gives a gift to the Pinnacle. Basically, MJF introduced as a gift a new personal Pinnacle stylist. He gives them an interior designer to remodel the locker room, including the bathroom. Opens the door, Inner Circle brawls with them on the inside. Stables brawl all around the building, which would be fine. We hadn't seen one of these, but we're going to see one of these later tonight. Lazy booking because you have too much talent and you are just replaying angles. Year in, year plus in, you're starting to get predictable. Guevara sends Spears through a door. Haggard tosses Wardlow through a table. Santana and Ortiz put Wheeler in some ice. And they lay out Tully Blanchard before busting open Harwood. Jericho gives MJF a swirly and sends him through a vending machine. MJF manages to come up not really bleeding, even though they threw him through a vending machine. Anyway, Inner Circle sign goes back on the locker room door. Young Bucks are interviewed by Alex Marvez. Why do we do this when Dasha is there? Why do we do this when Big Show's in the building for Elevation? Why do we do this when we have Tony Schiavone? Why do we do this when we have the popcorn guy who probably has more charisma than Marvez? He's interrupted by Don Callis, tells Marvez to go away. Callis then tells Matt one-on-one, says he loves Kenny Omega and he thought Matt did too. Matt broke Omega's heart. Callis tries to guilt Matt by bringing up the attack on Matt's dad, trying to provoke him into attacking him. Callis finally slaps him. Matt gets in Callis' face. Matt doesn't do anything. Callis ends the segment with "You make me sick." Bigger heels. So then we go Lucha Brothers, Laredo Kid cutting a promo with the translator translating, saying they're coming for the championships. What championships? We don't really know. Anyway, I guess the tag team and the TNT, since Kenny already has the heavyweight championship. Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, Anderson and Gallows, defeat Lucha Brothers, Penta, and Rey Fenix and Laredo Kid. If you like Lucha, you probably like this. I do not like Lucha. I did not like this. So, Kid attacks everyone, and then there's a dive. Phoenix dives too. Triple Team Omega in ring with super kicks for near falls. By the way, too many super kicks. 3 luchadors lands a bunch of dives. All 3 opponents on the floor. Dive, dive, dive. Because, well, that's cool in lucha. Match comes back. Omega and Kid are in the ring. Kid lands a couple of moonsaults for near falls. Omega counters with a corner attack and some takedowns before tagging in Gallows. Anderson allows Gallows to take Kid down with a roundhouse kick. Good Brothers and Omega isolate Kid on their side of the ring. I guess it would be useful if the announcer said, I don't know, put over the fact that Laredo Kid and Kenny Omega had been feuding in Mexico for months, but they didn't bother. Frequent tags, double teams, including through a commercial break. After commercial, Omega and the Good Brothers hit some triple splashes on Kid for near fall. Kid eventually reaches Penta for the hot tag. Penta hits a sling blades before tagging in Phoenix, who hits a double cutter. They hit the assisted Kazdor splashes before tagging in for some more dives on Anderson for near fall. Good Brothers and Omega regain control. Triple team on Phoenix and Penta. And then there's another breakup of the count. Anderson hits a Claymore kick for near fall. Good Brothers set up the Magic Killer. Penta interrupts. More big moves, blah, blah, blah. Phoenix hits a hook kick. Penta hits a Destroyer on Omega. Anderson cuts Phoenix off. Spinebuster. Kid with another dive. It's like his fourth dive in the match. Why are they supposed to be special again? Omega and Kid tagged in strike exchanges that look relatively weak because they've been going for, I don't know, close to 10 minutes now. Omega counters into a power bomb and a V trigger for near fall. So the V trigger is one of his main moves, but he can't beat someone who's from out of town with it. Omega then sets up the one-winged angel. Kid escapes and lands a dive on Omega. That's like his fifth dive. Penta lands a dive, and the Lucha Brothers and Omega all re-enter the ring. Phoenix hits a rope walk, and Kid hits a Michinoku driver on Omega for near fall. Omega avoids Phoenix Splash, hits a V-trigger, and hits the one-winged angel for the win. I guess if you like this sort of thing, or if you think this will draw people in, this was good for what it was, but there's absolutely no research to say that this gets over with the American audience. Moxley follows by the Young Bucks, walked out to face off Omega and the Good Brothers, who bail out of the ring. Britt Baker interview, yay, something good. She's there with Rebel. Baker talks about the new AEW Dark Elevation show, points out that Thunder Rosa's on the show, which doesn't make any sense. I thought Tony Khan said it was supposed to be to elevate new talent. Thunder Rosa has been around for several months. Anyway, she said that's good because the victory over Baker didn't count because it was a lights out match. Good storyline point, not followed up well enough by the announcers. She said she put Thunder Rosa and AEW on the map. Matt Hardy promo airs, pointing out that tomorrow's April 1st, meaning he'll start to make his money back. Good for him, apparently. Nyla Rose and the Bunny with Vicky Guerrero, Matt Hardy, Private Party, The Butcher, and The Blade defeat Hikaru Shida and Ty Conti with the Dark Order. Again, too many stables, too many people. My head hurts from keeping count of everybody. Teams brawl before the bell. Rose attacks Shida. Leg drop right away. Bunny tags in, allows Shida to take control with a throw before a Fujiwara armbar. Bunny reaches the ropes and leaves Shida with a draping knee. Shida gets in on Hardy's face, allowing Rose to blindside ahead of the commercial. We're back, and Shida makes a comeback, suplexing the Bunny into Rose. Conti tags in, and then hits a bunch of judo throws, and then makes multiple knee strikes. They're on the floor. They hit a backbreaker on the Bunny, and this is done right in front of Hardy. Dark Order and Hardy group start brawling again. Shida dispatches Rose and then hits a dive sequence on Hardy's group, which looks ridiculous, especially since we've literally seen, I kid you not, a dozen dives on the show already. And then officials distracted. Bunny grabs a kendo stick, whacks Conti with it, and gets the pin. So much for Conti's momentum, especially since the Bunny hasn't been portrayed as a major person, but Conti has over the last several months. Anyway, next week's lineup doesn't thrill me all that much more. Jurassic Express in Bear Country, The Inner Circle returns, Darby Allin, JD Drake, that could be good. Ty Conti and the Bunny, well, at least it makes sense. And Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus Moxley and the Young Bucks. All the AEW fans will be excited. I literally feel like I'm losing my the foundation of what made AEW good. Anyway, Jurassic Express cuts promo on Bear Country, and they bring up Gonzalez versus Kong. Stunt has a Kong tattoo. Godzilla's a dinosaur like Luchasaurus. This causes dissension. Anyway, actually, it's Jungle Boy that has the tattoo, I thought. Anyway, I wrote the wrong thing. Arcade Anarchy, Chuck Taylor, Orange Cassidy defeat Miro and Sabian with Penelope Ford. Match was a nutty brawl. Since we've already had some nutty brawls, it means less. Falls count anywhere with video game machines all over ringside. Major takeaways from the match, other than the fact that they're doing this stuff just to do it at this point, is that Chris Statlander and Trent, both characters I enjoy, return. Taylor and Cassidy Attack before the bell. Taylor pairs off with Miro. Cassidy goes with Sabin. Miro hits a fallaway slam. Cassidy sends Sabin through a whack-a-mole machine. Miro comes out of nowhere, levels Cassidy before getting him down on the floor. He then pops up on the barricade. Taylor and Cassidy double team Miro. He powers out and suplexes Taylor through the barricade. Ouch. Miro grabs chair, beats down Cassidy in the ring, wedges the chair in the corner, and sends Cassidy headfirst into it. Taylor jumps off an arcade, saving Cassidy in the process, regains control. Cassidy nails Miro with a trash can lid. This is so 1996. It's not even funny. Taylor tees off with a kendo stick. See? Anyway, then they use a barricade as a battering ram, taking down Miro. And they dump a bunch of plunder at one point in the match. I don't remember exactly where, but JR calls all the weaponry a box of gimmicks, and I got a chuckle out of that. Taylor tried to suplex one of them, but then gets blocked. Sabian escapes and power bombs him onto Legos. Ouch. Cassidy runs in, breaks up the fall. Cassidy hits a tornado DDT, beach break for near fall, and hits the orange punch. Cassidy would have won it, but Penelope Ford pulls the official out of the ring and punts Cassidy for the low blow. Penelope Ford's going to attack Cassidy, but Statlander returns by popping out of the claw machine, following up with a Fisherman Buster through the arcade machine at ringside. Not a fan of this. Miro shows up, tosses Cassidy the length of the ring, beals him all around, pretty well attacks the opponents, and Trent's bomb, Sue's minivan rolls up, bringing back a storyline from, a year ago, maybe? At least 9 months ago, or several months ago. Anyway, the problem with this is, do we know that all the fans were watching them that are watching now? We assume so, but is that a good assumption to make? Anyway, rolls up, Trent makes his return, as well as the best friends are beating down Miro. Miro fights them all off. Miro makes his way to the minivan. Trent makes the save. Trent then avoids having a token machine tossed in his face. Miro gets gets speared, and then it's propped up table. Taylor hits a running powerbomb through some stage tables for the win. During this whole melee, Chris Statlander returns, puts Penelope Ford through a table on the outside. Best friends and Statlander hug, and we close the show. Again, the worst AEW I've seen, just because it's chaos. It's chaos in a bad way. This isn't ECW. We shouldn't be treating it like it is. And it's too all over the place. Anyway, we'll be back with the NXT review right after this.